Palestinians evacuate a building damaged by Israeli shelling in the Gaza Strip on Sunday, October 22, 2023. In Rafah, Gaza Strip, Israeli warplanes targeted Gaza overnight, well as two airports in Syria and a mosque the occupied West Bank allegedly used by militants. The two-week-old war with Hamas poses a threat. He also shot. Being dragged into a wider conflict, Israel has exchanged almost daily fire with Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group since the war began. And tensions are rising the Israeli-occupied West Bank, where Israeli forces have aimed with militants in refugee camps and launched two airstrikes recent days. For days, Israel appeared to be the verge of launching a ground attack on Gaza in response to Hamas' deadly attacks October 7. Tanks and tens of thousands of soldiers massed at the border, and Israeli leaders talked about an uncertain next phase in operations. However, the military acknowledges that there are still hundreds of thousands of Palestinian civilians in northern Gaza despite the sweeping evacuation order, which would make any ground offensive difficult. The risk of triggering a broader war with Hamas allies in Lebanon and Syria could also give them pause. On Saturday, 20 trucks of aid from Egypt were allowed into Gaza through Rafah crossing, the first time anything has entered area since Israel imposed a full siege 2 weeks ago. Aid workers say little is being done to address the spiraling humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where half of the region's 2.3 million people have fled their homes. Hospitals filled with patients, displaced people, are running low on medical supplies and generator fuel, forcing doctors to operate without anesthesia with sewing needles, kitchen vinegar as a disinfectant. Working at Khan Younis Nasser Hospital, Dr. Mohammed Qandeel said shortages of supplies, including ventilators, were forcing doctors to ration treatment. If we get 10 seriously injured patients every day, we have to make do with maybe 3 or 5 available ICU beds. Palestinians sheltered in UN-run schools and tent camps are running out of food and drinking dirty water. The region's only power plant shut down more than a week ago, causing a region-wide power outage and disrupting water and sanitation systems. The UN humanitarian agency said cases of chickenpox, scabies and diarrhea were increasing due to lack of clean water. Gaza's Hamas-run Interior Ministry said it had carried out heavy Israeli airstrikes across the region through Sunday, including in southern areas where Israel had told Palestinians to take shelter. Late Saturday, an airstrike hit a cafe in the southern town of Khan Younis where displaced people had gathered to charge their phones. Nearby Nasser Hospital said 12 people were killed and 75 injured. The Israeli military said it struck Hamas members and facilities but did not target civilians. As Palestinian militants continue their daily rocket attacks, Hamas announced it was targeting Tel Aviv early